Hey guys, so this is going to be video number 2 in the How I Draw Anatomy series. This video is going to be covering the line of action. If you have not seen the first video, which is the basic gesture drawing video, there will be a link down below in the down thingy, and there will be a link at the end of this video as well to that video so you can check it out. I highly recommend watching that one first because this topic that I'm going to talk about today kind of picks up right where I left off with that. Okay, so as I said, this video I'm going to be talking about the line of action. I'm going to be explaining what the line of action is and showing you how to do it and how to make your characters look kind of like they're moving. That's sort of the point of this video. And I know that this particular little step might seem a little bit inane to some people, but this is really meant to go hand in hand with the previous video of the basic gesture drawings, as well as the next video that I'm going to be doing, which is about shape and silhouette. So I wanted to get these 3 little basic things, the basic gestures, the line of action, and silhouette, kind of out of the way before I go into things like proportions and how to draw the head and how to draw like the arms and the feet and the hands and all that stuff. But I felt that these 3 little steps were important to show you before I teach you how to build a body, because these kind of steps are to teach you how to give your characters movement, and I think that that can get lost a little bit when you're too focused on trying to make sure that your proportions are correct and stuff like that. I think it's more informative and more helpful to show you how to give your characters movement and learn how to do that first, and then kind of step back to learn how to properly build a body. And so that's why I'm going to be showing you guys these things first. They should be quick, simple, they're not too hard to learn, and they kind of will increase your ability to do gesture drawings and make your characters move around a little bit more. So I guess I'm just going to go ahead and get started. This should be pretty quick, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I'm going to continue using this assignment from my figure drawing for animation class just because these are already drawn, so it's just easier, and I will be doing some demonstration sketches as well, probably during the video and at the end, just like I did last time. So I'm going to talk about the line of action and tell you guys what it is. The line of action can basically be described as the longest line of the body. It's usually from the head to the toes, but it's not always. It depends on how dynamic the pose is that you're working on. And it shows the flow of the body. The main purpose of the line of action is to simplify your pose and make it more direct and easier to read. The line of action can also sometimes show where the weight on the body is, which is helpful when you're trying to balance your character and show like what foot they're resting on, or you know, stuff like that. It basically all helps to build a stronger, clearer pose with your characters. So what I'm going to show you guys now is I have these sketches, and the line of action is not identified on any of these because these were the first ones I did for this assignment. The rest of them have it on there already, but I'm going to show you guys how to identify where the line of action is. I'm going to switch to a blue pencil so it's kind of easier to see. For this pose, which is what we worked on last time, the basic building blocks of a simple gesture, there really isn't a line of action on this pose because this is it's a very flat pose. It doesn't have any movement or life. It's just kind of, it's very static. So identifying a line of action on here is really, really difficult. But for a pose like this, there is a very clear line of action. And as I said, it usually goes from the head down to the foot and will show where the weight is rested, which is on this foot right here. So our line of action will be boop, just like that. That's really all the line of action is. It's just showing the basic movement and flow of the body. So I'm going to come over to this pose right here and show you guys where the line of action is for this one. Generally, it's where the foot is weighted, so that would be this foot, and it would usually start from the top of the head down to the body with our CCurve right here. I hope you guys can see the blue. It's like non-photo blue, so I hope it shows up on camera. But that would be our line of action for this particular pose. And this one is my favorite because you can very, very clearly see what the line of action is. It is from the top of the hand. There's a plane flying over. All the way down to the foot. Even though in this pose, the resting foot is this with the weight on it, the line of action wouldn't flow down here because it doesn't read properly. So even though the weight of the foot is rested right here, the line of action would still go from the top of the hand down to this foot, just because it makes a clearer line for the body and it makes the flow of the body work better. I also wanted to quickly mention the difference between an SCurve and a CCurve in used for the line of action. Some teachers and other humans will say that as a general rule, using an SCurve isn't the best idea because it can make your pose look kind of busy and sloppy or whatever. The way I was taught, both a CCurve like this and an SCurve like this are fine for use as a line of action in your drawing. A CCurve is normally used for like standing poses such as this or this one, which I already showed you. It just helps to add more balance and a specific weight source on your character. But an SCurve can be used for pretty much anything. It works really well with animals. If you're doing like a character in the air or underwater, like a mermaid or something, an SCurve will work really well to give kind of a flow, especially like putting an SCurve in and adding the bottom of the SCurve being like the tail of a mermaid or something. So in my opinion, it's okay to use both a CCurve and an SCurve as your line of action. So I'm going to take this pose right here and make it a bit more organic or dynamic looking just by taking my line of action, which I will draw first, and then just kind of making the body a bit more relaxed looking rather than really stiff like this one is. So normally you're supposed to start with the line of action first, but I like to start by kind of indicating where the head is. So it'll be right here. I'm going to keep the pose basically the same, just kind of loosen it up a little bit so it's not so static. And then I'll take my line of action, which I'm going to use a very light SCurve. So that's my line of action. It can be as sketchy or messy as you like. It doesn't really make a difference. And then I'm just going to use my basic gesture technique like I showed you guys last time. And just sort of put the body together. And I'll have the line of action flowing from the hand down to the foot that is weighted. And it would look something like that. So as you can see, it's still basically the same pose, it's just a bit more organic. Like we have our weight rested on this foot and the line of action will come from here down to there. So it's just as simple as that. Generally, you're supposed to start with your line of action first and then build your body around that so it has a flow and a movement to it. So here is a quick little demo of me doing a couple of really fast gesture sketches, starting with a line of action and then building my body on top of them. It's very, very simple. You just start out by indicating really lightly where your line of action is and then just kind of building the body around that. And it's just a simple thing that will help give your characters a little bit more movement and a little bit more life rather than having some static poses. And it will also help to add some weight and balance to your characters, which will help them seem more believable when you place them into an environment. So yeah, that is just the quick little demo that I wanted to share with you guys, and that's it. Alright, so that is it for this video talking about the line of action. I know, as I said at the beginning of the video, this might seem a little bit inane to some people in that it's not useful or helpful, but it really is. It just takes some practice to understand why it's necessary. So for those of you guys that are practicing the stuff that I'm talking about, what I would like you guys to do is to take the previous sketches that you've already worked on, like the gesture sketches from the last video, and try and identify the line of action in them. And then after you've done that, try and do some poses based off of a line of action, like what I've done here. Like you draw the line of action first and then you build the character on top of it, and see how that changes the way you draw and if it makes your drawings a little bit more lively and a bit more dynamic. And for the next video, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video again, I'm going to be talking about silhouette, which is something else that may seem a little bit inane to people, but I'm going to do it anyway because it is really important. So I'm hoping to get that up really soon. And as usual, if you guys like this video and would like to see more, please hit subscribe down below. And there is also a playlist where all these videos will be going. So I guess that is everything. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys shortly for the next video. Bye!